Imagine you are waking up to a new day. The sunlight peeks through your window, and the world outside is already moving. But before you even get out of bed, your mind starts racing. Thoughts of unfinished tasks, worries about the future, and regrets from the past flood in. Your phone is buzzing, reminders are popping up, and before you know it, your morning is filled with stress before it even begins. Why does this happen every morning? Why does the mind latch onto worries before the day has even started? Have you ever wondered why some days feel heavy before you even step out of bed? Is it possible to change this? Let's take a simple example. Two people wake up at the same time. One immediately thinks about all the problems waiting for them, and their mood sinks. The other wakes up and reminds themselves, today is a fresh start. They take a deep breath, feel gratitude, and step into the day with clarity. The same morning, the same world. Yet their experience is completely different. Which one do you think will have a better day? Welcome to Wisdom Woven, where we uncover deep wisdom in the simplest way. If you want to start your mornings with peace instead of chaos, you're in the right place. But before we dive into these powerful insights, let's take a moment. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribe. If you're watching this, don't just pass by. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, drop down your thoughts in the comments. What's the first thing you think about in the morning? Let's build this wisdom together. Now, let's talk about something powerful. The way you start your morning shapes your entire day. In Buddhism, the first thoughts of the day hold immense importance. They determine whether your mind will be calm or restless, whether your actions will be mindful or reactive. If the first thing you tell yourself in the morning is negative, your mind follows that path all day. But if you start with awareness, you create a foundation of peace. Buddhism teaches that the mind is like a still pond. When you throw in a stone, ripples spread across the surface. Your first thought of the day is like that stone. If it's filled with stress, the ripples will disturb your entire day. But if it's filled with wisdom, the ripples will bring clarity, calmness, and strength. Think about how most people wake up. The alarm rings, and the first thing they do is reach for their phone. Social media, emails, news, it all rushes in at once. Their mind gets pulled in every direction before they even step out of bed. But what if, instead of reaching for the phone, they reached for a thought that truly mattered? A thought that could set the right tone for the entire day? One of the most powerful Buddhist practices is to begin the day with awareness. Before even moving, take a deep breath and tell yourself something meaningful. Something that reminds you of the present moment. Something that brings gratitude instead of stress. This one small shift can change everything. Imagine waking up and saying, I am grateful for this new day. Instead of, I have so much to do, you tell yourself, I have the chance to grow today. This simple habit rewires the mind. It stops the endless cycle of overthinking and brings clarity. Buddha taught that suffering comes from attachment, to thoughts, to fears, to expectations. When you wake up, your mind naturally clings to whatever it finds first. If you feed it worries, it will hold on to them. But if you feed it wisdom, it will let go of unnecessary stress. The first words you tell yourself in the morning should be like a gentle guide, leading you toward a peaceful day. It's not about ignoring problems. It's about facing them with the right mindset. A mindset built on wisdom, not fear. This practice doesn't take extra time. It doesn't require any special effort. It only asks you to be mindful in the first few seconds of waking up. And that small change, it can transform everything. In the next part, we will explore how to let go of past worries and start the day with true freedom. But before that, take a moment. What's the first thought you had this morning? Was it peaceful, or was it stressful? Let's begin the journey of change, one morning at a time. Impermanence in the art of letting go. Sit for a moment and take a deep breath. Feel the air enter your lungs, then leave. That breath you just took, it's already gone. The moment has passed. No matter how much you try, you cannot bring it back. This is the nature of life. Everything comes and goes. Nothing stays the same. Yet, every morning, people wake up carrying the weight of yesterday. Thoughts of past mistakes, regrets, missed chances, and pain fill the mind before the day has even begun. Why? Why do we hold on so tightly to what is already past? Why do we let old pain follow us into a new day? If something is gone, why does the mind keep bringing it back? Have you ever noticed how a single thought about the past can ruin your entire morning? A mistake you made, something someone said, or something you lost. It lingers like a shadow, pulling you backward when life is asking you to move forward. Let's look at a simple example. Imagine two people wake up in the morning. One of them thinks, "Yesterday was terrible. I wish things were different." The other thinks, "Yesterday is gone. Today is a new day." Who do you think will have a lighter heart? Who will step into the day with freedom instead of burden? The answer is obvious. But why is it so hard to do? The Buddha taught one of the greatest truths: impermanence. Everything changes. Nothing stays the same. Not happiness, not sadness, not people, not situations. Everything is always moving, shifting, passing. Yet, we suffer because we resist this truth. We try to hold on to things that are already slipping away. We cling to people who have left, moments that have ended, and emotions that are no longer real. Think about the sky. One moment, it is clear and blue. The next, it is covered with dark clouds. Then, the rain comes. After some time, the sun shines again. Do you ever see the sky trying to hold on to a cloud? No. The sky allows everything to pass, without fear, without attachment. This is how the mind should be. Open, free, accepting. Yet, every morning, people wake up and fill their minds with old memories, things they cannot change. They replay conversations, regrets, and mistakes as if thinking about them will fix anything. But what does it truly fix? Nothing. It only steals the freshness of a new day. Letting go is not about forgetting. It is about accepting. Accepting that the past is done. Accepting that you are no longer the same person you were yesterday. Accepting that every morning is a new chance. A Zen story tells of two monks walking by a river. They see a woman struggling to cross. One monk lifts her up and carries her to the other side. Then, the two monks continue their journey. Hours pass in silence, and finally, the second monk speaks. He says, "Why did you carry that woman? We are monks. We are not supposed to touch women." The first monk looks at him and smiles. "I put her down hours ago," he says. "Why are you still carrying her? How many things are you still carrying? A mistake from years ago? A painful memory? A person who left? Imagine how much lighter your heart would feel if you simply let it go. Just like the monk, you don't have to carry unnecessary burdens. When you wake up in the morning, before anything else, remind yourself, everything changes. Everything passes. I do not need to hold on to the past. Just this one thought can set you free. It can make your mind as open as the sky. Some people fear letting go because they think it means losing something. But letting go doesn't mean losing. It means gaining peace. It means choosing not to suffer over things that no longer exist. Imagine you are holding a rope. It is pulling you, burning your hands, causing you pain. The more you resist, the more it hurts. What is the easiest way to stop the pain? Not by fighting, not by pulling harder, simply by letting go. Your past is that rope. Your regrets are that rope. Every time you hold on to them, you suffer. But the moment you release them, you are free. Buddhism teaches that suffering comes from attachment. People suffer because they cling to things that are meant to change. The truth is, nothing belongs to you. Not your past, not your pain, not even your thoughts. Everything is just passing through. Like water in a river, it flows. Have you ever sat by a river and watched the water move? No part of it stays in one place. It keeps flowing, always changing. Your life is the same. Your emotions, your experiences, your challenges, they all flow. The problem is, the mind tries to grab onto the water. But what happens when you try to grab water? It slips through your fingers. The secret to peace is to stop grabbing, to let things flow, to allow each moment to come and go without trying to control it. Tomorrow morning, when you wake up, instead of thinking about what went wrong yesterday, tell yourself, today is a new day. I am not my past. I do not need to carry what no longer exists. See how it feels. See how much lighter your heart becomes. It will not happen instantly. The mind is like a garden. If you have spent years planting the seeds of regret and attachment, you cannot expect a new flower to bloom overnight. But if you start today, if you plant the right thoughts, with time, your mind will become a place of peace. Letting go is a daily practice. Every morning, remind yourself, nothing is permanent. Not my pain, not my happiness, not my worries. Everything changes. Some mornings, your mind will resist. It will try to pull you back into old habits. But just like a cloud in the sky, watch the thought pass. Do not fight it. Do not hold on to it. Just let it go. The greatest peace comes from acceptance. Accept that life moves forward. Accept that you are growing. Accept that you do not need to suffer over things you cannot change. In the next part, we will explore how compassion can change your mornings, how the first thought you have about others can shape your entire day. But for now, take a deep breath. Close your eyes. Let go of what no longer serves you. The past is already gone. The future is not here yet. The only thing that exists is this moment. And in this moment, you are free. Embracing compassion, the first thought of the day. Sit down for a moment. Take a deep breath. Before we begin, I want you to imagine something. Imagine you wake up in the morning, and the first thing you feel is frustration. Maybe it's because of something that happened yesterday. Maybe it's because of something you fear will happen today. The moment your eyes open, your heart feels heavy. Sound familiar? Now, imagine a different morning. You wake up, and the first thing that fills your mind is kindness. Kindness toward yourself. Kindness toward the people around you. Kindness toward the day ahead, no matter what it brings. Feels different, doesn't it? Every morning, you have a choice. Before your feet even touch the ground, your mind takes its first step. Will it step toward worry, anger, or stress? Or will it step toward peace, understanding, and compassion? That choice, made in the first few seconds of the day, decides everything. Compassion is one of the greatest teachings of Buddhism. The Buddha himself taught that a mind filled with compassion is like a calm lake, clear, peaceful, and deep. But a mind filled with anger is like a stormy ocean, wild, unpredictable, and exhausting. Which one do you want to wake up to? When you wake up, your mind is like a blank canvas. Whatever thought you place on it first will color the rest of your day. If your first thought is frustration, your day will be filled with irritation. But if your first thought is kindness, your day will be filled with warmth. It's that simple. Think of it like planting a seed. A seed of anger will grow into a day full of tension. A seed of love will grow into a day full of peace. What seed do you want to plant? Many people believe compassion is something you show to others, but true compassion starts with yourself. How do you speak to yourself in the morning? Do you wake up with words of kindness? Or do you wake up criticizing yourself for things that haven't even happened yet? Buddhism teaches that all suffering comes from the mind. But here's the secret. It also teaches that all peace comes from the mind, too. You are not powerless. You don't have to wake up feeling heavy every morning. You can choose a different path. The moment you wake up, try this. Before you think about the day ahead, before you check your phone, before you even move, pause. Take one deep breath. And then, say to yourself, today, I will be kind. To myself, to others, to this life. It sounds simple, but do not underestimate this small act. This one thought can shift your entire mindset. When you approach the day with kindness, your mind becomes lighter. Your heart becomes softer. Your worries become smaller. But what about those difficult mornings? The ones where you wake up feeling tired, annoyed, or just empty? What about the mornings when kindness feels impossible? Those are the mornings when this practice matters the most. Think of it like this. If a room is dark, you don't fight the darkness. You turn on a light. Compassion is that light. Even the smallest spark of kindness can push away the heaviest darkness. You might wonder, why should I be kind when the world is harsh, when people are rude, when things go wrong? Because kindness is not about what the world gives you. It's about what you choose to give the world. If someone throws anger at you, and you respond with anger, what happens? The anger grows. But if someone throws anger at you, and you respond with understanding, what happens? The anger fades. This is not weakness. This is wisdom. And it starts with the first thought of your morning. A great Zen saying goes, a single candle can light 1,000 others without losing its own flame. Your kindness does not make you weaker. It makes you stronger. When you begin your day with kindness, you become that candle. You carry a light that cannot be taken from you, no matter what the day brings. So tomorrow morning, when you open your eyes, pause, breathe, and remind yourself, I choose compassion. Say it out loud if you have to. Let those words shape your day, because the world is already full of noise, anger, and distraction. But your mind does not have to be. You have the power to start each morning with peace. And when you do, you don't just change your day. You change the world around you. Compassion is not a feeling. It is a practice, a habit, a choice. And the best time to choose it is in the very first moment of your day. The question is, will you? Gratitude as a path to inner peace. Every morning, you wake up with a choice. Before your feet even touch the ground, your mind is already moving. It starts pulling memories from yesterday, worries about tomorrow, and thoughts of all the things you need to do today. But in that very moment, you have the power to shape your entire day. The first thought you choose can either bring peace or create stress. What if, instead of letting your mind wander into worries, you brought it back to something simple? What if your first thought in the morning was gratitude? Not forced, not a long list, but just a simple, sincere appreciation for being alive. Gratitude is a path. It is not something you do once and forget. It is a way of living, a way of seeing. The Buddha taught that the mind is like a garden. If you plant seeds of gratitude, they grow into peace, contentment, and joy. But if you plant seeds of complaints, frustration, and desire, they grow into suffering. Every morning, you plant a seed. What kind of day do you want to grow? Most people wake up and immediately think about what they don't have. I wish I had more time. I wish I had more money. I wish my life was different. Their first thoughts are filled with dissatisfaction. And from that moment, the mind starts chasing what is missing, chasing what is wrong. But the chasing never ends. Even when they get what they want, they start chasing something else. But look at a person who starts their day with gratitude. They wake up and think, I have another day to live. Not everyone gets that. They think, I have a roof over my head. Not everyone has that. They take a deep breath and feel the air fill their lungs. They don't take it for granted. And because they start their day this way, their mind is already in a place of peace. Gratitude is not about ignoring problems. It is not pretending that life is perfect. It is about seeing what is already good, even when there are challenges. A person who practices gratitude does not have a perfect life, but they have a peaceful heart. And that makes all the difference. Imagine two people walking in the same rain. One complains, why does it always rain when I have somewhere to go? The other says, how beautiful this rain is, how fresh the air feels. The same rain, but two different experiences. Gratitude changes how you see the world. It doesn't change the outside, it changes the inside. And that changes everything. Buddhism teaches that suffering comes from wanting things to be different than they are. A mind that always wants more will always suffer. But a mind that learns to appreciate what is already here will find peace. This is why gratitude is so powerful. It shifts your focus. Instead of looking at what is missing, you see what is present. Instead of seeing problems, you see opportunities. Instead of feeling lack, you feel abundance. Think about the small things you overlook every day. The warmth of sunlight on your skin, the way water quenches your thirst, the sound of birds in the morning. These are things that millions of people don't have. But because they are always there, you forget them. The mind gets used to things too quickly. It starts taking them for granted. But when you wake up and remind yourself, I am lucky to have this, suddenly, everything changes. The Buddha once told a story about a man who was always unhappy. He had food to eat, but he wanted more. He had a home, but he wanted a bigger one. He had people who loved him, but he still felt empty. One day, he asked the Buddha, why am I never happy? The Buddha smiled and said, because you do not see what you already have. You only see what is missing. This is the problem of the mind. It always looks forward or backward. It forgets to look at what is right here, right now. But when you wake up with gratitude, you train your mind to see differently. And once your mind learns to see, everything becomes a gift. Gratitude is not just a feeling. It is a practice. It is something you do again and again until it becomes part of you. When you wake up, instead of saying, "I don't want to get up," say, "I am grateful for this new day." When you eat, instead of thinking, "I wish I had something better," say, "I am grateful to have food." When you breathe, instead of ignoring it, say, "I am grateful to be alive." Slowly, this practice changes you. At first, it may feel small, but over time, it transforms your entire way of thinking. The things that used to annoy you no longer bother you as much. The things you used to want so desperately lose their power over you. The more you focus on what is already here, the less you feel like something is missing. But gratitude is not just for the good moments. The real practice begins when things are difficult. When life is hard, can you still find something to be grateful for? Can you still see the light in the darkness? This is the true test. Anyone can be grateful when everything is going well, but the ones who find gratitude even in suffering, those are the ones who find true peace. A person who complains will always find something to complain about. A person who is grateful will always find something to be grateful for. It is not the world that changes, it is the way you see it. And that choice is yours every single morning. So tomorrow, when you wake up, take a moment. Before you check your phone, before you get out of bed, before your mind starts running, pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, what is one thing I am grateful for today? It doesn't have to be big, it just has to be real. Because the moment you feel gratitude, your day is already better. The illusion of control, surrendering to the present. Close your eyes for a moment. Think about everything you are trying to control in your life. Your future, your relationships, your reputation, your success, maybe even the way others see you. Every single day, your mind is busy, planning, worrying, fixing, controlling. But let me ask you, has this control ever given you real peace? Or has it only made you more restless? There is a simple truth in life. The more you try to control everything, the more you suffer. The more you let go, the more you are free. But letting go does not mean giving up. It does not mean running away. It means understanding what is in your hands and what is not. Imagine a river flowing down the mountain. It moves freely, twisting and turning, going wherever the earth takes it. Now imagine someone standing in the river, trying to stop the water with their hands. No matter how hard they try, the river keeps flowing. The more they fight it, the more exhausted they become. This is how most people live their lives. Always trying to fight the flow of life, always resisting. And in the end, they only tire themselves out. Buddhism teaches that suffering comes from attachment. And one of the biggest attachments we have is the illusion of control. We believe that if we plan everything perfectly, if we try hard enough, we can make life go exactly the way we want. But life is unpredictable. No matter how much we try, things will not always go as planned. And when they don't, we feel pain. Have you ever been in a situation where you tried your best, but things still fell apart? Maybe you worked hard for something, but it didn't happen. Maybe you gave your heart to someone, but they walked away. Maybe you expected life to go one way, but it went in the opposite direction. That feeling of disappointment, of frustration, that is the result of clinging to control. But what if, instead of clinging, you allowed things to be as they are? What if, instead of resisting the flow, you moved with it? That is what surrender truly means. Not weakness, not passivity, but a deep trust in life itself. Think about the trees. They do not fight the wind. When the storm comes, they bend. If they resisted, they would break. But because they bend, they survive. The same applies to us. When we learn to flow with life, instead of against it, we find true strength. A person who clings to control is like someone gripping a rope too tightly. The tighter they hold, the more it burns their hands. But if they loosen their grip, if they let go just a little, they stop hurting. Life is the same. When you loosen your grip, when you stop trying to control every little thing, you start to feel lighter. Buddha once said, "Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without." Many people believe that peace will come when everything in their life is perfect. When they have enough money, when their relationships are stable, when their problems are gone. But this is an illusion. There will always be something uncertain, something unfinished, something out of your control. If your peace depends on external things, you will never have peace at all. True peace comes when you stop fighting life, When you stop resisting what is. When you accept the present moment as it is, not as you wish it to be. This does not mean you do nothing. It means you act without attachment. You do your best, but you do not force things. You move forward, but you do not cling to outcomes. There is a story of a Zen master and his student. One day, they were walking by a river. The student asked, "Master, how do I find peace?" The master smiled and pointed at the water. "Look at the river," he said. "It does not push, it does not pull. It simply flows. That is peace." The student thought for a moment and said, "But master, what if the river is blocked by a rock?" The master laughed. "Then it flows around it. It does not stop. It does not fight. It finds another way." This is the wisdom of life. When obstacles come, do not resist them. Do not waste your energy fighting what cannot be changed. Instead, learn to flow, adapt, accept, and keep moving. Right now, think about your own life. What are you trying so hard to control? What are you holding on to so tightly that it is causing you pain? What if, just for today, you loosened your grip? What if, instead of worrying about the future, you trusted the present moment? The mind loves to ask, what if this happens? What if that goes wrong? But the truth is, we do not know what will happen next. No one does. And that is okay. The future will take care of itself. Your job is to live fully, right here, right now. Letting go does not mean being careless. It means being wise. It means understanding that some things are beyond your control, and that's not a bad thing. Imagine if you had to control everything: the wind, the sun, the seasons, the way people feel, the way time moves. It would be exhausting, but you don't have to. Life already knows what to do. So, take a deep breath. Feel the air entering your body. Feel the ground beneath you. Right now, in this moment, there is nothing to control. There is only life, happening as it should. Trust it. Flow with it. And you will find the peace you have been searching for. In the next part, we will go even deeper. We will explore how suffering can be transformed into wisdom, how even pain has a purpose. But for now, take this with you. Let go. Surrender. Flow. Then watch how life begins to change. The nature of suffering, transforming pain into wisdom. Sit down. Breathe. Listen. You have carried pain for so long, haven't you? It follows you like a shadow. Some days, it is light, almost invisible. Other days, it feels like a heavy storm. No matter how far you run, it finds you again. Have you ever asked yourself, why? Why does suffering seem to never end? Imagine you are holding a hot coal in your hand. The longer you hold it, the more it burns. You can feel the pain, but still, you refuse to drop it. Why? Because someone gave it to you. Because it reminds you of something. Because you believe, in some way, that holding on to it is necessary. But the truth is simple. Only you can decide when to let it go. Suffering is like that hot coal. People hold on to it, believing it is part of them. But suffering is not who you are. It is something you experience. And anything that is experienced can also be released. Buddha taught that suffering has a cause. It does not appear from nowhere. If there is suffering, there is a reason for it. And if there is a reason, then there is also a way to remove it. But first, you must understand where your suffering comes from. Most suffering comes from attachment. You want things to be a certain way, but they are not. You want people to act as you expect, but they don't. You want life to go smoothly, but it doesn't. And every time reality does not match your desires, there is pain. This is where suffering begins. Not in the world, but in the mind. Think of a river. It flows, no matter what happens. It does not hold on to the past or resist the future. It simply moves. But imagine if the river suddenly wanted to stop. If it tried to freeze itself in place, to hold on to a single moment forever. What would happen? It would no longer be a river. It would turn into something unnatural, something stuck. This is what happens when we refuse to let go of pain. But why is letting go so difficult? Because suffering has become familiar. The mind clings to pain because it is afraid of emptiness. Even suffering feels better than nothing at all. But the truth is, peace is not empty. It is full of clarity, full of freedom. Ask yourself, what is causing your suffering right now? Is it something that happened long ago? Something someone said? Something that hasn't even happened yet? Look at it closely. Hold it in your mind. And now, ask, can I let this go? Sometimes, suffering is like a knot in a rope. The more you pull, the tighter it becomes. But if you stop pulling, if you loosen your grip, the knot begins to untangle. This is what happens when you stop fighting your pain. When you stop feeding it with anger, fear, and resistance, it begins to fade. Many people think suffering is a punishment. They believe it is something to endure, something they must carry. But suffering is not a punishment. It is a teacher. It shows you where you are holding on too tightly. It shows you where you need to grow. Every pain, every wound, every disappointment, it is pointing you toward something. A person once asked the Buddha, "Why do I suffer so much?" The Buddha replied, "Because you believe the pain is yours." This is the greatest illusion, that suffering belongs to you. But suffering is just passing through. It is like the wind. It comes, it goes. If you do not hold on to it, it cannot stay. Look at the sky. Does it hold on to the clouds? No. The clouds appear, they change, and they disappear. Your pain is like those clouds. It comes and goes. You are not the pain. You are the sky. If you sit with your suffering instead of running from it, something incredible happens. It loses power over you. The moment you face it directly, without fear, without resistance, it begins to dissolve. It is no longer something that controls you. It is simply something that is. There is a simple truth. All suffering is temporary. It may last a day, a month, a year, but it will change. It will shift. No storm lasts forever. But the more you resist it, the longer it stays. The more you accept it, the faster it passes. Think about a time when you were deeply hurt, a time when you thought the pain would never go away. And yet, here you are. It passed, didn't it? The suffering you once thought was unbearable is now just a memory. This is proof that pain is not permanent. Right now, you have a choice. You can continue holding on to the suffering, feeding it, letting it control you. Or you can step back, observe it, and release it. But do not rush. Let go slowly, like a leaf falling from a tree, like a wave returning to the ocean. Let go, not with force, but with understanding. Some suffering is deep. Some wounds take time to heal. That is okay. Healing is not about speed. It is about patience. It is about sitting with yourself, breathing through the pain, and trusting that one day it will soften. Right now, take a deep breath. Feel the air entering your lungs. Feel the space around you. Notice that in this moment, nothing is wrong. In this moment, you are simply here. This is freedom. This is peace. Pain does not define you. Suffering is not your identity. You are not the wounds of your past. You are not the worries of your future. You are something greater, something vast, something endless, like the sky above. Let go of the coal. Let the river flow. Watch the clouds pass. And as you do, feel the weight lift. Feel the mind clear. Feel the peace that has always been there, waiting for you. In the next part, we will go even deeper. But for now, sit in this moment. Let the suffering rest. Let it dissolve. And remember, nothing is permanent, not even pain. Interconnectedness. Seeing yourself in everything. Sit still for a moment. Take a deep breath. Feel the air moving in and out of your body. Do you know where this air has been before it reached you? It has touched the trees, the rivers, the mountains. It has moved through the lungs of others, both near and far. The air you breathe is the same air that has been here for centuries. It is shared by every living thing. You are not separate from this world. You are a part of it. Yet, every morning, people wake up and think of themselves as alone. They carry their worries as if no one else can understand them. They struggle through life, feeling disconnected, as if they are islands floating in an endless ocean. But is this really true? Or is it only a trick of the mind? Imagine this. There is a tree standing tall in a forest. It looks strong, independent, self-sufficient. But beneath the ground, its roots are intertwined with others. They share nutrients, they support each other, they help each other survive. If one tree is sick, the others send what they can to heal it. They do not compete, they connect. They understand that their survival is linked. People are the same. yet they forget. They wake up and think, this is my problem, my struggle, my journey. They forget that their joys and sorrows ripple out into the world, touching others in ways they may never see. A person smiles at a stranger, and that stranger carries that warmth into their day. A person speaks with anger, and that anger spreads like fire, igniting tension in places they never intended. Everything we do, everything we say, everything we think, it does not stay with us alone. It moves, it flows, it spreads. Buddhism teaches that nothing exists by itself. No single drop of water is separate from the ocean. No single wave moves alone. The self that people cling to, the I they hold onto so tightly, is not separate from the world. It is shaped by everything around it. Think of a candle flame. Where does it begin, and where does it end? The wax feeds it, the air fuels it. The heat spreads beyond what the eye can see. If you try to separate the flame from the candle, it disappears. The same is true for the self. It is not an isolated thing. It exists in connection with all things. This is why kindness matters. This is why compassion is not just a word, but a way of living. When you see yourself in others, you no longer act from selfishness. When you understand that your actions ripple out into the world, you choose them more carefully. There is an old Zen story. A monk once asked his teacher, "Why do we practice kindness?" The teacher pointed to a river and said, "Because the fish do not know they are in water." What does this mean? It means people move through life unaware of the connections that support them. They forget that the food they eat comes from the hands of many. They forget that the roof over their head exists because of the work of others. They forget that their laughter, their wisdom, their very presence is a gift passed down from those who came before them. But forgetting does not change the truth. A fish does not think about water, yet it cannot live without it. A person does not always think about the web of life, yet they are never apart from it. Once this is understood, everything changes. A person no longer sees strangers, only reflections of themselves. They no longer cling to their suffering, knowing that others share the same burdens. They no longer chase after happiness, realizing that true joy comes from giving, not just receiving. Imagine how different life would be if everyone woke up with this thought: I am not alone. My actions matter. What I do today will touch the lives of others. Instead of rushing through the morning, what if people moved with care? Instead of speaking without thought, what if they spoke with kindness? Instead of feeling separate, what if they felt connected? This is not an idea to simply believe. It is a truth to experience. Go outside and watch the trees sway in the wind. Look at the birds flying in harmony. Feel the earth beneath your feet. The world does not fight against itself. It moves together. When a single bird takes flight, the others follow. When one wave rises, another is lifted with it. When one person chooses kindness, the world shifts, even if in ways too small to see. So the next time you feel alone, remember the river and the fish. Remember the tree and its roots. Remember that you are not just a drop in the ocean. You are the ocean itself. The life that flows through you is the same life that flows through everything. And when you wake up tomorrow, before reaching for your worries, before filling your mind with distractions, pause, take a deep breath, feel the air moving in and out, and remind yourself, I am not alone. I am a part of something greater. With this understanding, the day begins not with fear, but with peace. Not with separation, but with unity. Not with struggle, but with purpose. This is the way of interconnectedness. This is the truth waiting to be seen. Karma in the energy you carry into the day. Sit down for a moment. Breathe. Feel the air around you. The morning has begun, and with it, you have a choice. A choice that will shape everything ahead. You may not see it, but every thought, every action, every word you carry into the day will set something in motion. This is karma. Not as a mysterious force, not as something out of your control, but as a simple truth. What you bring into the day will return to you. Imagine waking up with frustration. Maybe you didn't sleep well. Maybe yesterday was difficult. Maybe there's something weighing on your mind. You carry that energy into your morning, and suddenly, small things start to bother you. The water takes too long to heat up. The coffee doesn't taste right. Someone says something, and it feels irritating. Before you know it, The whole day feels like a struggle. But what really happened? Was the world against you? Or did you bring yesterday's energy into today? Now, imagine a different start. You wake up and remind yourself, this is a new day. You take a deep breath, stretch, and instead of rushing, you move with ease. The water is warm, the coffee is simple but good, and when someone speaks, you listen without irritation. The day moves with you, not against you. Nothing outside has changed, but inside, everything is different. This is karma in its most practical form. It is not about punishment or reward, it is about cause and effect. Whatever you bring into the morning will ripple out into everything you do. Carry frustration, and the world will reflect it back. Carry peace, and the world will respond with calm. But here's the real question. Can you change the energy you wake up with? Can you shift the way you start your day, no matter what happened yesterday? The answer is yes. But it takes awareness. It takes practice. It takes a decision. Buddha once said, with our thoughts, we make the world. This is not just philosophy, it is reality. Your first thoughts in the morning are like the first brushstrokes on a blank canvas. They set the tone, they create the colors, they decide what the day will become. If the first thing you think is worry, the day will be painted with stress. If the first thing you think is gratitude, the day will be painted with peace. Many people believe karma is something beyond their control, something that follows them from past lives, something fixed. But in truth, karma is being created every moment. Right now, as you listen, as you think, as you breathe, you are shaping your future. The energy you carry is the energy that returns to you. Think about the people you meet. Have you ever noticed that some people always seem to attract problems? Wherever they go, trouble follows. Arguments, misunderstandings, difficulties, they seem stuck in a cycle. And then there are others, the ones who walk into a room and bring calm with them. The ones who face challenges but don't get pulled into chaos. The ones who, no matter what happens, remain steady. The difference is not luck. The difference is energy. And here's the key. Energy is not something you are born with. It is something you create. Every morning, you are given a choice. Will you wake up and carry old pain, old frustration, old worries? Or will you wake up and create something new? One of the simplest yet most powerful Buddhist teachings is this: before you start the day, pause. Just for a moment. Before you speak, before you think of yesterday, before you check your phone, pause. Take one deep breath. In that breath, decide the energy you will bring into the day. Try this. Wake up and tell yourself, I will carry peace today. Or, I will carry kindness today. It does not matter what happened yesterday. It does not matter what challenges will come. What matters is the intention you set now. Because intention becomes action. Action becomes habit. Habit becomes destiny. A simple example. Imagine someone who wakes up thinking, today will be difficult. They step out of bed already preparing for struggle. And what happens? The smallest inconvenience feels heavy. The day confirms their expectation. But now, imagine someone who wakes up and thinks, today, I will move with ease. Even when challenges come, they handle them differently. The same world, the same situations, but completely different experiences. This is karma in motion. Not something that controls you, but something you control. Not something that happens to you, but something you create. But there is something important to remember. Changing your energy is not about pretending. It is not about forcing happiness or ignoring difficulties. It is about shifting your focus, about choosing what you hold on to and what you let go, about deciding what deserves your energy and what is not. Some mornings will be hard. Some mornings, you will wake up with sadness, with anger, with fear. This is natural. But even in those moments, you still have power. The power to acknowledge those feelings without becoming them. The power to say, yes, this feeling is here, but it does not control me. The power to choose a response instead of reacting. One of the greatest lessons in Buddhism is that nothing is permanent. Not joy, not pain, not frustration, not fear. Everything changes. And that means no matter what energy you wake up with, you can shift it. You can decide, right now, how you will step into the day. So, as you move forward, ask yourself, what do I want to carry into today? Do I want to carry yesterday's burdens? Or do I want to carry something lighter? Do I want to hold on to stress? Or do I want to move with ease? Do I want to bring peace into my morning? Or do I want to let the world decide my mood for me? Every morning is a new beginning. Every breath is a new choice. What you bring into today will shape what today becomes. Breathe. Pause. Decide. Because karma is not waiting for you. It is moving with you. It is in your hands, right now. What will you create today? Mindfulness in action. Turning words into practice. You have heard many words. You have listened to many teachings. But what do words mean if they are not lived? What use is wisdom if it stays in the mind and never reaches the heart? Imagine a traveler who collects maps but never walks the path. He studies every road, every direction, and every possibility. Yet, he never takes a single step forward. He wonders why he has not reached his destination, but the truth is simple. Knowing the way is not the same as walking it. Many people hear about mindfulness. They talk about peace, about awareness, about presence. But when challenges arise, they forget. They react with anger, impatience, and fear. The wisdom remains in words, not in action. This is the difference between knowing and being. Buddha did not just speak of mindfulness, he lived it. He did not just teach patience, he embodied it. His presence was his teaching. His silence was his wisdom. His actions were his truth. And this is what must be done, not just knowing, but becoming. Every morning, people say they will be calm, they will be kind, they will be present. But by noon, frustration takes over. By evening, stress controls them. And by night, they wonder why peace seems so distant. The reason? Words alone cannot bring transformation. Action must follow. Imagine this. You wake up and say, I will be mindful today. A few hours later, someone tests your patience. Maybe they cut you off in traffic. Maybe they speak to you with disrespect. What happens then? Do you react with the same mindfulness you spoke of in the morning? Or do you let anger rise before you even realize it? True mindfulness is not tested in easy moments. It is tested in the fire of discomfort, in the storms of daily life. Anyone can be calm when nothing is wrong, but can you be calm when everything is falling apart? This is why mindfulness must move from words into practice. It must become so deeply rooted in you that it does not leave, no matter what happens. The same way a tree does not fall with the first strong wind. Your peace should not disappear with the first challenge. So how does one do this? How does mindfulness become action? The answer is simple, through awareness. Not once a day, not only when meditating, but every moment. Mindfulness is not an event. It is a way of living. Every action, no matter how small, is a chance to practice. Drinking water. Are you aware of the taste, the temperature, the sensation? Walking. Are you feeling the ground beneath you? Or is your mind lost in thought? Listening. Are you hearing only to reply? Or are you truly present? Mindfulness is not difficult, but it requires attention. It is a shift in how you experience life. And the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. Soon, mindfulness is no longer something you do. It is something you are. When you speak, are you aware of your words? Do they bring kindness or harm? When you eat, are you aware of each bite? Or is your mind already thinking about the next thing? When you are with someone, are you fully there? Or are you only half present, distracted by thoughts of the past and future? Buddhism teaches that mindfulness is like a lamp. It lights up the moment, revealing everything as it is. When there is light, there is clarity. When there is clarity, there is peace. But when the lamp is forgotten, darkness takes over. Confusion, worry, anger. These all come when mindfulness is lost. Imagine carrying a lamp through a dark forest. If you hold it close, you can see each step. You will not trip, you will not fall. But if you let go of the lamp, you are blind. You do not know where to step, and fear takes over. This is the mind without mindfulness, uncertain, restless, lost. So what must be done? Hold the lamp. Keep the light of mindfulness with you, always. Not just in the morning, not just when things are easy, but in every moment. A simple practice: before you act, pause. Before you speak, pause. Before you react, pause. In that small space of awareness, wisdom arises. In that space, you choose. Will you act with presence or with impulse? with calm or with chaos, with wisdom or with ignorance. Many people think mindfulness is about slowing down, but it is not about speed. It is about awareness. You can move fast and still be mindful. You can be in the busiest place and still be present. It is not about what is outside. It is about what is within. Even in anger, there can be mindfulness. Even in sadness, there can be awareness. The goal is not to never feel emotions. The goal is to see them clearly, to not be controlled by them, to feel without losing yourself, to experience without attachment. Buddha said, "Your worst enemy cannot harm you as much as your own unguarded thoughts." This is why mindfulness is protection. When you are aware, nothing can shake you. When you are present, no emotion can overpower you. So today, as you go forward, ask yourself, where is my mind? Is it here, in this moment? Or is it lost somewhere else? Bring it back. Again and again, bring it back. And soon, mindfulness will not just be something you do, it will be who you are. Silence and reflection. The power of inner dialogue. Sit down for a moment. Just breathe. Listen, not to the noise outside, but to the voice within. Do you hear it? That endless chatter in your mind. Thoughts about yesterday, worries about tomorrow, conversations that never happened, words left unsaid. It never stops. But have you ever asked yourself, who is speaking and who is listening? Every morning, before the world rushes in, you have a choice. You can let this voice control you, or you can master it. Most people don't even realize they are talking to themselves all day. Their mind speaks, and they listen without question. I am tired. I am not good enough. This day will be difficult. Words appear, and without thinking, they believe them. But are these thoughts even real? Buddha once said, "Your worst enemy cannot harm you as much as your own thoughts." Yet, the mind plays tricks. It makes simple things complicated. It turns a small worry into a heavy burden. It takes one negative thought and repeats it 1,000 times until it feels like the truth. But here's the secret. Thoughts are just thoughts. They are not you. They come and go, like clouds in the sky. If you watch them without attachment, they lose their power. Imagine holding a glass of water. If you keep shaking it, the water becomes restless. It spills, it splashes, it never settles. But if you put the glass down and leave it untouched, what happens? The water becomes still. This is the mind. The more you engage with every thought, the more restless it becomes. But if you let it be, it finds peace on its own. Have you ever noticed how silence feels uncomfortable? The moment everything gets quiet, the mind starts looking for something to fill the space. A distraction, a thought, a problem to solve. But why? Because silence reveals the truth. It shows us what's really happening inside. That's why people run from it. They keep the TV on, check their phone, fill their time with noise, anything to avoid sitting with themselves. But silence is not empty. Silence is full of answers. When was the last time you spoke to yourself with kindness? Think about it. If a friend was struggling, you would comfort them. You would remind them of their strength, their worth. But when you struggle, what do you tell yourself? Do you criticize? Do you doubt? Do you repeat the same painful words over and over? If so, why? Shouldn't you be your own greatest supporter? The way you speak to yourself in silence matters, because those words shape your reality. If you wake up and tell yourself, "I can't do this," your day will follow that path. But if you wake up and remind yourself, "I have everything I need within me," the mind listens. Words are powerful, even the ones spoken only to yourself. There is an old Zen saying, "Before you speak, let your words pass through 3 gates. Is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind?" But what about the words inside your own mind? Shouldn't they pass through these same gates? If a thought is not true, why believe it? If it is not necessary, why hold on to it? If it is not kind, why let it stay? Buddhism teaches that self-awareness is the key to freedom, and inner dialogue is part of this awareness. If you are lost in your thoughts, believing every word they say, you are a prisoner of your own mind. But if you observe them, question them, and choose them wisely, you become free. Imagine standing in front of a mirror. You see your reflection, but you know it's not really you. It's just an image. The same is true for thoughts. They appear in your mind, but they are not you. They are just passing reflections of your past, your fears, your conditioning. If you stop reacting to them, they lose their power. So how can you change your inner dialogue? How can you turn your mind from a restless enemy into a peaceful guide? It starts with awareness. The next time a negative thought appears, don't fight it. Don't push it away. Just watch it. Notice it without judgment. See it for what it is, just a thought. Nothing more. And then, let it go. Every morning, before you speak to the world, speak to yourself. Say something that brings peace. Something simple. I am here. I am enough. I am grateful. These small words, repeated daily, become the foundation of your mind. They shape your reality. They create a path of clarity. Silence is not the absence of sound. It is the space where truth is found. It is the moment when the mind stops running and simply rests. It is in this space that wisdom arises. The next time you wake up, before reaching for your phone, before rushing into the day, sit for a moment. Just breathe. Just listen. Just be. Because in that silence, you will hear something powerful, the voice of your true self. And that voice has always been there, waiting for you to listen. The journey within, self-discovery through daily affirmations. Sit down for a moment. Breathe. Let go of everything outside of this moment. The world moves fast, but you don't have to. In this space, you are free. Free to explore, free to understand, free to be exactly as you are. Every morning, the world gives you a gift, the chance to begin again. But most people wake up and fall into the same patterns. The same thoughts, the same worries, the same habits. They don't realize they have a choice. They don't see that the mind, like a river, can be redirected. Buddhism teaches that the mind is shaped by what it hears. If you tell yourself the same story every morning, that story becomes your reality. If you say, I am tired, I am stressed, I am not good enough, then that is the world you create. But if you change the words, you change your path. Imagine a traveler lost in the mountains. He keeps walking in circles, following the same trail, never realizing that just beyond the trees, a new path is waiting. His footsteps are familiar, but they lead nowhere. This is how the mind works. It clings to old patterns, to old beliefs, to the same self-doubts. But what if, just for one morning, he took a different step? What if he turned in a new direction? Every morning, you have this chance. The first words you tell yourself are like a compass. They set the course for your day. If your compass points toward negativity, then your path will be filled with struggle. But if your compass points toward wisdom, then your journey will be lighter, clearer, and more peaceful. In Buddhism, affirmations are not about forcing yourself to believe something false. They are about remembering the truth that you are more than your fears, more than your doubts, more than the mistakes of yesterday. Every morning, you wake up with a fresh mind. You can choose to carry the past, or you can choose to release it. So, what should you tell yourself every morning? The answer is simple. Tell yourself what is real. Tell yourself what brings peace. Tell yourself something that reminds you of who you truly are. Say, I am alive, and this moment is a gift. Feel the truth in those words. Because life is never guaranteed. Yet, here you are, breathing, existing. Another day, another sunrise, another chance. Why waste it on regrets? Why cloud it with fear? Say, I am not my thoughts. I am the awareness behind them. The mind will try to pull you into its stories, worries, expectations, past mistakes. But those are just thoughts. They're like clouds passing in the sky. You are the sky. The thoughts come and go, but you remain. Say, I let go of yesterday, and I welcome today. The past cannot be changed, but the present is in your hands. If you carry yesterday's burdens into today, how can you walk freely? Imagine a monk carrying a heavy bag. If he holds on to it, he will struggle. But if he sets it down, he can walk lightly. You too must learn to set things down. Say, I will walk with kindness, both to myself and to others. In Buddhism, compassion is the highest path, not just for others, but for yourself. Speak to yourself as you would to a dear friend. Be gentle with your own heart. Treat your own mind with care. Say, I will embrace whatever comes, without resistance. Life is unpredictable. Some days will be bright, some will be dark, but suffering comes from resistance, from wanting things to be different than they are. A river does not fight the rocks in its path, it flows around them. Be like the river. Accept, adapt, and keep moving forward. These are not just words. They are reminders. They are tools. They are the seeds of a new way of living. Every morning, plant these seeds in your mind. Water them with patience. Give them sunlight with your awareness. Over time, they will grow into something strong, something unshakable. Most people wake up and immediately fall into old habits. But you are not most people. You are on a path of wisdom. You are choosing awareness over autopilot. And that choice? That is the difference between being lost and being free. A monk once said, "Your thoughts shape your world." Speak wisely, even to yourself. So speak wisely. Shape your mornings with care. Because how you start the day is how you live your life. And tomorrow, when you wake up, don't let the old patterns take over. Pause, breathe, and say something that will guide you toward peace. Living the teaching. Ending the day as you began. Imagine you are lying in bed after a long day. The lights are off, the world outside is quiet, but your mind is still awake. Thoughts come and go. Things you did, things you didn't do, words you said, mistakes you made. You replay conversations, rethink decisions, and wonder if you could have done things differently. The day is over, but your mind refuses to rest. Why is it so hard to let go? Why do we carry the weight of the day even when it's time to sleep? If the way you start your morning shapes your day, then the way you end your night shapes your mind. Just as the first thoughts in the morning set the direction, the last thoughts before sleep determine the peace you carry forward. A restless mind does not find peace just because the day ends. It continues its cycle, waiting to repeat itself tomorrow. But a mindful mind, a mind that knows how to let go, enters sleep like a flowing river, calm, clear, and free. There is a great secret in Buddhism. It is not enough to practice wisdom only when the sun rises. True wisdom is carried from morning to night, from one breath to the next. You began this journey by learning how to set the right intention each morning, but now, you must learn how to release everything when the day is done. Take a moment. Think about everything that happened today. The good moments, the bad moments, the neutral ones. Every conversation, every thought, every feeling. Now, ask yourself, what can you carry into tomorrow? What must be left behind? If you do not let go, if you do not release the weight of today, you will wake up tomorrow carrying the same burdens, the same fears, the same distractions. But if you let it all go now, you will wake up fresh, free, and light. Buddha taught that clinging is the root of suffering. People think attachment only means holding on to possessions or relationships, but attachment runs deeper than that. You are attached to your thoughts, to your opinions, to your regrets, to your emotions. The mind refuses to let go because it believes it must control everything. But here's the truth. You do not need to carry everything with you. You do not need to hold on to every mistake, every moment of doubt, every regret. You are allowed to release. You are allowed to rest. So, tonight, before you close your eyes, take a deep breath. Let the air fill your lungs, and then slowly, gently, let it go. With that breath, release everything. Let go of the words you wish you didn't say. Let go of the mistakes you made. Let go of the worries about tomorrow. This moment is all that exists. The past is a shadow. The future is a dream. Only this breath, only this second, is real. There is a reason monks end their day with meditation. They do not allow the weight of the world to follow them into sleep. They sit in stillness, they reflect, and then they let go. The mind that sleeps in peace wakes up in peace. The mind that sleeps in chaos wakes up in chaos. Which mind will you choose to sleep with tonight? A great Zen master once said, "Rest is not found in sleep. Rest is found in a quiet mind." You may sleep for hours, but if your mind is filled with noise, you will wake up tired. But if you silence the mind, if you let go of everything that does not serve you, you will wake up renewed. Many people go to bed holding on to anger. They replay old arguments. They resent what others said. They wish they had reacted differently. But anger is like fire. It burns the one who holds it. Do you really want to go to sleep holding fire in your heart? Or will you let it go? Let it dissolve. Let it disappear like mist in the morning sun. This is the final lesson. Just as you begin your day with intention, you must end it with release. Letting go does not mean forgetting. It does not mean ignoring. It means freeing yourself from the chains of the mind. It means choosing peace over suffering. Before you sleep tonight, ask yourself, what am I carrying that I no longer need? What worries are not mine to hold? What pain am I ready to release? Breathe in, feel the weight of the day. Breathe out, let it all go. This is the way of wisdom. This is the way of peace. And now, my friend, before this journey ends, I must ask you something important. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribe. If you have walked this path with us, if you have found even one piece of wisdom that has touched your heart, then don't just watch. Be a part of this. Like this video, share it, and subscribe to Wisdom Woven. Let's spread this teaching together. And before you go, tell me in the comments, what is the last thought you will hold on to tonight? What will you release? Sleep well, wake up free, and remember, wisdom is not found in the words we hear. It is found in the life we live.